Vexed by technology? Not anymore. I'm David Yakir, and this is Yak About Tech. What's up, everybody? You're listening to Yak About Tech, your GPS guide to everything technology. We are broadcasting from the Waxy Studios at Planet Vero, the home of iHeartRadio in Vero Beach. All right, it's been a while. So, Sally, how's your summer ending?
Well, it's been eventful, that's for sure.
That's right. That's right. You just came back from visiting relatives.
I did.
And
yeah.
now,
had a lovely visit in Connecticut. The weather was mild. It was gorgeous.
Nice. A little relief from our southern heat wave, right?
Right.
All right. So we have a good show today. We'll be all over the place, but we're giving back a little to the community today. We've got Paxton Ellis here. He's the Director of Sales and Marketing at Brenedy at Vero Beach. But we are in particular today about how we're going to talk about what he's doing there. And that is that he's doing a blood drive.
Yes, sir.
And so on and off, not only will he be joining us in our conversation, but we'll be promoting that blood drive during the course of this half hour. So why don't we open with that and let Paxton tell us a little about the blood drive, and we'll repeat it several times during the show because this is an important thing that we do for our community, and that is to give blood and help out our fellow people.
Well, and as you know, September 11th is the date of the blood drive, and it's a huge day in the history of the world. And One Blood is partnering with the Brenedy to set up their blood bus in our community, in our parking lot, and we're trying to drive everybody to there on September 11th from 7:30 in the morning till about noon. We're going to have giveaways and gifts and food and activities and some different informational things going on, and it's really exciting for us because One Blood it's one of the biggest days of the year to give blood. So,
and it services the entire community.
Yep.
So this is a real big Vero Beach blood drive.
Yep, exactly.
And you're saying people give blood in order to honor the victims of 9/11. That's why it's on 9/11.
Yep, that's kind of what our spin on it is. Obviously, One Blood does blood drives and blood buses every day, and we're trying to drive it as a memorial and a celebration and all of the things that surround the emotions of 9/11, and doing it that way just makes it more poignant and more important to us and to the community.
Yeah. One of the difficulties in blood drives, and I hear this from people all the time, is people are afraid to give blood. They sort of have this fear of giving blood. I mean, there are people that object to getting needles or having blood drawn, let alone, have a pint of blood. How do you talk to people and say, look, not only is this the benefit to your community, but it does nothing to harm you.
Right.
It only benefits the community, that type of thing. Or...
Well, it's my understanding, and I'm not a blood technician by any means, but it's my understanding that the body can recoup that pint of blood in less than 24 hours. They ask you to rest for the rest of the day a little bit, but for the most part, people aren't really active, on a Friday afternoon as they're going back to work or whatever. And it's also my understanding that a pint of blood and all of the things that come with that blood can do things for more than 10 people. It's not just blood anymore. It's the plasma and everything that's they build and generate things just from all of the things that come out in that small bag. It's not painful in any stretch of imagination. I've been giving blood since I was allowed to as a teenager, and I've enjoyed it and appreciate it. There's a couple of ways of doing it now. They can just pull the straight blood, or they can do a little bit longer process that separates and just takes plasma, and they can take a lot more plasma, which is what I do because it helps.
It really doesn't hurt. These people that do it on a daily basis are absolute pros. It does not hurt.
No, not at all.
I do remember the first time I gave blood. I think I was in college, actually in Tampa. It was my first year of college, and they had a blood drive. And I was one of those people back then that just having blood drawn for a physical, I would just pass out.
Oh, wow.
And I got over that sometime in college, but it was that blood drive and you had to do it. I think I was pledging a fraternity my first year, and they made all the pledges give blood.
It's a good idea.
And I went, and I had this this total fear. And I remember laying down, and I got up too fast, and after it was done, and I was really dizzy, and I'm sitting there going, oh my God, I have no blood left. And one of the technicians turned around, gave me a glass of juice, and said, drink this. It makes the blood come back immediately. So I drank the juice, and I actually walked away as a college freshman going, oh, I feel much better, thinking that the juice made the blood come back, or
well, I'm
made
in
more
the
blood.
school that believes that regenerating that blood is a very healthy body process to have, your blood regenerated freshly like that after giving blood. That it's a good thing for you health wise.
Well, and I mean, modern science back in the 1800s, bloodletting was a huge part of making somebody feel better. So, for whatever that's worth. Funny story about my college days is I used giving plasma. We had the plasma donation for money. That's the way. That was my budget for the fun activities outside of the school.
That's right. So you earned a living on it. Yep. Giving blood and doing something good at the same time. All right. For those of you out there who are watching, we are live streaming over livestream.com. We hope you'll all register at Livestream, and that way you can watch us and be notified anytime that we're about to broadcast. But if you miss us on Livestream, of course, you can get us and download our shows on iTunes. You can find us on TuneIn Radio. Of course, we publish to YouTube all the time, Stitcher, SoundCloud, and Instacast. Or just write me at yakabouttech@gmail.com, and of course, we'll answer any of your questions on the show.
When you go to live stream, you just search for either Planet Vero TV or Yak About Tech, and you'll find David.
That's right. You'll get to see me every once in a while looking up into the camera, which I keep being ordered to do, and I keep forgetting. But we're learning, and we're trying our best to do it. All right. So, a couple of interesting things today. So we're in that time of year where technology is all over the place. All the companies are introducing their latest and newest technologies. Apple has their big event on September 9th, and you can watch it online at apple.com or any of the websites I tell you to look at, like Engadget and bgr.com. So what we're expecting this week, and
what is
Apple,
their event? I know nothing about it.
Okay, so Apple has, and I think I've done this on the show before, Apple has 2 events a year. One really is for developers. They do that in June, where they introduce their new operating systems and what's new and what the new capabilities are. And they give it away to developers, and they let the developers actually work with it so they know how to design programs for the new operating systems.
Is that so the apps can come out as the new OSs come out?
And when the new hardware comes out, that's when all the updates take place and the new hardware gives new capabilities. So this is the rumor mill, and it seems pretty certain, as Apple often does. They introduce a style of phone 1 year. In the last year, we had the iPhone 6 and the 6 Plus, which is the larger phone. And for those of you who are actually watching, this is the 6 Plus. Now they're going to introduce the same look and feel, but of course they've improved the technology. It's going to have something called Force Touch, which will allow you to really do different things by touching the screen. And it's called the 6S and the 6 Plus, or 6S Plus, I think. So those are the phones, and they'll be introducing their new operating systems. It'll be the new El Capitan operating system for the Mac, and OS 9 for your mobile gadgets like your iPads and your iPhones. The iPad, there's a rumor that the iPad will be coming out in a larger 12 plus inch size, and it's going to have new capabilities, and it'll be working with a stylus pen, and they're trying to appeal more to businesses. So I'm looking forward to that, actually, because I always redesign my electronics every September, depending on what's come out. Some things I keep from year to year, some things I update.
Because you've got to have the latest, greatest.
Well, it used to be that way during the rich days, when you're running technology for the big corporations, as I did in the past, every time something came out, you just passed yours down and you got the latest and greatest. And as an independent, you're much more careful about where your money goes. So this year, the one I want to talk about, there is something. It's the new Apple TV. And the new Apple TV is going to be a whole new operating system, a whole new technology. It's apparently going to have a touch-based remote control. They are going to introduce their own TV channel lineup, just not yet. So we're going to see a new Apple TV. It's going to have its own app store. People will be developing their apps for the Apple TV, which used to be a closed system. And then down the line, not only am I understanding that they will be introducing a channel lineup so you can cut the cord to cable, but they may be going into production with their own programming.
You know, my daughter is having an incredible nightmare trying to get cable into her home. They've just, scheduled and canceled 3 times. She's been weeks waiting for it. And someone posted on her Facebook page, ditch cable, get Apple TV. And I didn't think it was, what are they talking about?
Well,
is it available yet?
Well, right now, the Apple TV that's available now, I have it. It has many apps. It has Netflix on it, Hulu Plus. It'll have CBS. It has Watch ESPN. It's got, about 20 or 30 programs. So you can actually ditch your cable now, depending on, what your lifestyle around your programming is. So in many houses, watching the evening news is really important, and that doesn't happen. You don't get that at 6:30 at night the way you get it on your cable TV or over the air. But there are people that have put high definition antennas on their houses and are bringing in the major stations.
Yep. I have the LG Smart TV that came with that capability, and if I didn't have basic cable through my HOA, I wouldn't have cable at all, because the HD channels, that's the only way I get HD, and I get all the major networks, and then I could watch, other than live sports, I could watch anything I wanted to watch through the apps.
That's right.
Netflix and Hulu, and I have the Amazon app too, Amazon Prime.
That's right, Amazon Prime.
And between those 3 apps, I don't watch live TV except for sports ever.
Amazon Prime, if you're a member of Amazon Prime, you do get their video programming as well as audio, their audio equivalent of Spotify or those type of things. Amazon just this week introduced downloading on their apps, so you can actually download the movies in advance, so you don't have to be connected. So if you're going someplace, you can download it on your gadgets.
Or use somebody's Wi-Fi.
or use somebody's
Very
Wi-Fi.
good. Yeah. I mean, go to Starbucks and download your movies.
So that's what's happening with Apple. I think what I'm most excited about is I think the new Apple TV, because I think that could be a game changer, especially when they do introduce their own programming lineup.
Listen up, Comcast. Stop abusing your customers.
Yeah, well,
Never happened. Never happened.
We have this conversation. Something, I want to talk about that. Remind me to talk about that when we come back. Let's go to commercial break now, and I'll talk about what's going to happen with our cable providers as we cut the cord. Hey, we are back. This is David Yack here. We are all talking about tech, and we're talking about a blood drive with Paxton Ellis. So one thing before we get back into the conversation, I know you've heard me say this more than once, but I just want to tell my listeners and watchers that Yak About Tech is brought to you in part by New Vision Eye Center. And as my neighbors have told me, it's the place to go because I said it is, and they're my favorite eye doctors in town. So everybody head over to New Vision Eye Center. And
get your annual checkup.
That's right. That's right. And they keep bringing in amazing new doctors. So, that's why it's my choice, and I'm lucky enough to have them as a sponsor. Okay. So I do want to get back to about cutting the cable, what I believe is going to happen here. And this is an important discussion. So people will cut the cable because we will be getting our programming over the internet. But who controls the bandwidth? Comcast, AT&T, the Verizons, and the Time Warners. So what's happening is we're expecting to see what's happened on the airwaves, on the cell phone side, where we have data caps. So you buy a data plan, and in my case, I think I have Verizon. I have a 12 gigabyte data plan, which if I actually used it to consume media, it would be like 3 movies, and that would be it, my viewing for the month.
Yep.
I wouldn't be able to turn on anything for the month.
It's true. They've already implemented data caps
right.
From Comcast.
So they are experimenting with data caps at Comcast.
And Uverse.
Yeah, and this is where it becomes really problematic. And this is where local governments are going to have to step in. Because right now, in many areas, to protect the rights of the investment that Comcast and AT&T's and all those put into a community to wire a community. What they've done is not allowed the community itself to bring in its own high speed or offer it for free or for very little money. Until the community changes that, we're going to start seeing data caps, and then you start having to make choices because, they have you either way. They either have you on the subscription side or they have you on the data side. So, anyway.
That's one reason why the combo of UVerse with DirecTV might be a good option, because DirecTV uses absolutely no data.
That's right. But that's where you're getting your television from, and that's fine, but you're still paying for the same package.
Yeah.
It's the same thing. So you either stay and make a deal with the provider that's giving you the bandwidth, the data bandwidth, or you're...
same wolf, different sheep's clothing.
It is. And it's all the same, and it's unfortunate. I mean, but we do have the power to change this. It's getting government in line to respect the obvious investment of the companies that put in the investment and built out, but also to really look out for its people.
Well, frankly, I get so mad that the government keeps allowing all of these consolidations. They get bigger and bigger. In fact, AT&T just bought DirecTV.
That's right.
And they have no accountability to their customers. And you used to be able to go to the FCC if you really had a problem with one of these providers abusing you, but nobody cares anymore. You're just helpless and at their mercy, and it's just wrong.
Yes, I totally agree. And, we have different views on what role government should play in our economies and all that. But you're always weighing. It doesn't go one way or the other. You always need to weigh the need of the people.
Right.
And
I know. I agree with you on that. We're on the same side of that fence.
Broadband is almost like a necessity, like having a hospital in the area.
Absolutely.
I mean, for education at this point, if we don't have broadband that's reasonably priced for our students, in our schools, if we don't have broadband so our seniors can keep a connection when they're not mobile enough. So these are important things that we need to provide for our people.
Well, if everything going to the cloud, you're going to have to be able to put things in and take things out of that cloud. I mean, the entire medical world is going to be cloud-based, and paper is going to disappear. And
That's right. That's right. The cloud, we've talked about the cloud for about a year now. People ask a lot of advice on when they should take their Dropbox account or
and other
Google account.
Countries are light years ahead of us in this. You go to China or Japan, and my goodness, the speeds they have and the costs they pay, it's better.
Right.
In other places.
So, I did promise somebody. Every once in a while, I get these emails about apps that I recommend, or I find something that's really interesting, and it's sort of the playtime on the show type of thing. So on the iPhone, I don't know if it's out for Android yet, but there's an app called Eyes Block, and the reason I find this so fascinating is one of the big things we do, and I do it with grandkids, and you do it, Sally, is we take out our phone and just say, did you see the latest picture of Lily singing, or did you see the latest picture of Cash? And, we do that. On our phones are some other pictures we'd rather not share quite often. And I'm not pointing to the lewd things, but things that are just private to us that we'd rather not share, just a bad picture or something we took that was for some other purpose. There's an app called Eyes Block, and instead of loading your Photos app on your camera and saying, hey, this is a picture of my wife, or this is a picture of my kid, that type of thing, you can sit there and it brings up your camera roll, and you just pick the pictures you want to be seen.
Right, because some people my wife probably has 400 pictures.
That's right.
And somebody could just go.
And that's what they do. Most people, and they don't do it because they want to pry. It's just instinct. They just sit there and they go, oh, that's a nice picture. What's next? What's next? What's next?
Exactly.
Anyway, Eyes Block, I highly recommend it because I'll give you an example. The reason I found it is I was taking pictures of documents. I had my phone, and there were pictures I needed for documents for something I was recently doing, and it was my fastest way of going to a meeting and saying, look, I just took a picture, here's the document, and we can print it out and that type of thing.
Absolutely.
Interesting. Yes, I see now.
So
I understand. Yeah.
What happened was, I went looking for it. I just looked up on the net, and I found it was called Eyes Block, and it just brings up all your pictures just the way your camera roll would be, and you just pick the ones, right? And then you hit the button and you just give the phone away, and that's all that shows up. They can't go so if you show 10 pictures,
Right.
that's the only 10 things they see. There are no other pictures on your phone. So I introduced it to a friend I was having dinner with, and he sat there and he said to me, "I'm so glad because I want to show pictures, these pictures of food that, he's a chef and stuff like that. And next to those pictures were pictures I would hide, definitely from other people."
Well, I saw same subject, different app is my kids are growing up, and there is an app on the iPhone that checks math. It reads and looks at math problems, checks the answers, and if the child is having trouble, it'll show you how to get to the steps. And that came across my Facebook feed last night, and I thought it was a cool. I immediately downloaded it because I wasn't that good at math, but my son is extremely good at math, and he's way beyond. It takes me, I have to almost study overnight so I can go with him and do homework the next day.
Right.
And it was the neatest. I thought, this is the greatest thing in the world.
Yeah, and then that's the type of thing. I'm glad you shared that. What's the name of the app? Do you know?
I'd have to look back on Facebook. It was View Math or See Math.
Right. All right. My God,
Let's
time God. Let's talk about the blood.
Recap the blood drive, right?
Real quick.
September 11th, the Brenity at Vero Beach. We are off of Highway 60 between 74th Ave and 82nd Ave. Just call 299-7900. We'll be happy to give you directions. We're going to be doing the blood drive from 7:30 a.m. until about 12:30. Food, prizes, information, and great times.
And you can visit oneblood.org and get all that information about the Brenity too.
And I'll tell you what we'll do. We'll post it on the Yak About Tech pages. We'll post it on the Planet Vero pages, and we'll get it out every place we get out the show. All right.
Wonderful.
So we'll all be there, and really glad to have you on. It went really quick. I had at least 10 more pages of things to talk about, but we do get carried away. So this is David Yak here. This is Yak About Tech, and don't forget we're on Twitter at Yak About Tech.